Welcome to your September 23rd horoscope for Sun Soul Astrology TV. I just got hit with this wave of positivity. Every time I do that, I've learned through experience that's very reflective of the core watching this and just what's to come. So the 23rd is going to be a very powerful day. It's 0 degrees Libra season. It's the fall equinox, and it's definitely set to be quite epic, leading into a very controversial Libra season. Okay, I would say what's very amazing about this day, and just to kind of clarify, once again, thank you for the love. I think the reason why I smiled is because of the love that's evident in this collective. So shout out to Maru. Y'all are always amazing. I'm very always honored to do this. And what's really interesting as well is this is not the first time I did a 23rd day, a 0 degree day. I think the last 0 degree day I did, if not also Virgo season, was Leo season. So I'm honored to do Libra too, especially because we are going to see once again the sun enter 0 degrees Libra. Mercury and Venus are well into Libra. They've wasted no time. Mercury is already almost out of Libra, and we end the week off with a new moon. So I'm gonna start off with this square that Mercury and Venus are making to the newly Saturn direct motion, okay, in Libra. And I believe that this Saturn direct motion is very, 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 very iconic, as it's in the second decan, marking integration. The first decan of Capricorn is all about more so realization of your karma and legacy, leading into, of course, integration of this realization into your real life and what you're doing. And then, of course, the final decan of breakthrough and victory and completion. And so this integration decan is so important because this is what puts everything together. But my friends, this is really what's going to, as soon as today, give you an awareness now with the sun in Libra of what changes are set in your dealings with others. Because you can be so focused working on yourself that when you now take this improved version of yourself out to the world, your interactions with people are not the same. And this square between Pluto and Mercury and Venus very much so will separate the mature from the immature. Those who have that high school mentality and those who are truly adults. I mean, I don't even want to say adults because adulthood is a trap. And I'm quoting Erykah Badu, Sun and Moon in Pisces, girl who said growing up is a trap, but more so being mature and not mature. And when you deal with such malefic forces like Pluto retrograde or Pluto and Saturn, it's very harsh. On its own, they're very amazing planets, but it's very harsh because there is such a contrast between societal norms and the beliefs people have, which separate them so, and can take two well-meaning people who would have gone along and now they just hate each other because of their extreme differences in disposition, which is all fake. It just proves to show that, you know, some people are willing to just divide themselves over small, meaningless things than things that can bring us together. And this is what's going to be tested thoroughly, especially when it comes to your own security. Venus is in its home sign in Libra. Saturn is in its home sign in Capricorn. And there's a bit of an outside influence here having you express and communicate your egalitarian ideals of beauty, of what is fair to you, of what is right to you, because Libra is justice. and Saturn is karma. And so it's all about what is right to do in social interactions, which will very much so contrast with other people's beliefs. And how well you can stay true to that, despite that, is really what's going to make or break who succeeds, especially on a day like today, that will establish the rest of Libra season. This is going to give you a snapshot awareness of where every relationship is in your life, and how you need to now take the evolution of your character over the last six months and apply that in those relationships. The past 6 months from Aries season to Libra season, you have reminded yourself that you are a badass motherfucker. And now you need to remind other people of that in your relationships. And some people are not going to be pleased, because this period specifically with this square next to Pluto, which is now transforming and killing old norms forever. Okay, like you before this, you can call someone a faggot and you can call someone a gay ass. Now you can't, because that's not right, right? You're not taking into consideration all these new, and I'm using homosexuality and the stigma with that as just one example of many. You can't do that now, because you're insulting someone's identity and character, even if you mean it as a joke. And regardless of what I believe, that's just an example of how the politics of social engagement have changed forever. There's certain things that don't fly anymore. There's certain things you can't say. There's certain things you can't do, within reason, of course. And this is going to be heavily expressed immediately starting today, especially when it comes to ways that you're ready to champion being yourself. I want you to apply this to you, as there are ways that you've been yourself that have been seen as weird, that have not been accepted. And for those of you who are willing to be unpopular in your expression of authenticity, you are winning now. It may seem like you're a loser now, but you're winning now, because you're going to be up against insecure influences who are terrified of being themselves, and so they hold themselves back in order to hold on to this secure way of being that, while has some traditional roots, is utterly trash and useless and meaningless. But other than that, you'll see this for yourself. You are fighting the revolutionary fight of extending forth a new charm, a new presentation. Over the next 6 months, you're mapping out, starting tomorrow, a new sense of yourself. And you owe it to yourself 100% to really commit to this and to really succeed in your willingness to be the best you can be. And this is going to take the supernatural abilities that you've mastered and now pair you with other people who've mastered their abilities, so that you can now work together on them. And this is not just specific to one-on-one, teamwork situations and relationships with concepts as well, because you can say the higher realm looks down on us like we're higher. That's a theory, but other than that, it's definitely going to be powerful moving forward, as a lot of how you define your character is heavily influenced in how well you deal with clashes to who you're becoming, based on social stigma and based on outdated rules or new rules that you're ready to adapt to or shed, okay? We still have Uranus retrograding in Taurus, but with Chiron opposite this Libra energy, you really have to be willing to assertively stand up for your right to do what is authentic to you, as your natural flair will bring conflict and friction, but still have you stand your ground, which a lot of people will not do, because if at the outset, for them to sacrifice the notoriety and recognition that they have in order to stand for who they are, is too terrifying. And some people will not be caught dead doing that. And this is why this is going to be the next 6 months is a judgment day for everyone, for whoever's real or fake. There's no right or wrong. There's only real or fake. It is what it is. Now, keep that in mind, because I was saying earlier that you have to guide yourself according to what's right. And that is only meant subjectively, because you can only be right subjectively, and that's debatable, because you can argue that there is an objective right moral structure, right? And that gets into philosophy, but are you real or fake? And that will determine what's right or wrong. Because what the next chapter of this, every single person, doesn't matter who you are, every single person is going to be tested and judged based off of who they really are versus what they portray. There's certain people who they really are will make them enemies. And so they have to put on this mask. They have to put on this costume or character for the world so that they're palatable. Well, that's not going to work. Where you're going to need to heal this authentic side of yourself to integrate with this character. And for some of you, this is what you've been waiting for. For some of you, this is going to be difficult because you're terrified of that. You know the implications of that. And this is where you need to believe in yourself and not be afraid of what can go wrong, but work towards what can go right. Cliche advice, but it's the best that I can give you right now. I've been doing this for like 5 years, so I'm not a stranger to the stigma of what I do. I'm not a stranger to the fact that some people think I'm a fraud. Some people think I'm a scam artist. Some people think that I'm a fortune teller, even though what I do is based on science. Mathematical calculations of the sun's ecliptic and the equator. There's no foo-foo magic in what I do, or other respectable practitioners of what I do. Even tarot is based into psychological science, if we really want to take it there. And we won't say tarot is a hard science, but there's a lot of misconception. And if I want to be terrified about that, I can water down what I do to accommodate to the fears and stigmas other people hold against me, or I can just say fuck that and be me and embrace the stigma I have and do what I do and connect with authentic people like you, because this is not a popularity contest to me, it's a mission, and I'm reaching people. So you're going to see a clear divide between people who influence and do what they do because it is authentic to them versus, maybe they got into this field of tarot because they wanted money. Because if there's one thing that is true, there are a lot of frauds in tarot. There are a lot of frauds in astrology. There are a lot of frauds in the field of medicine. There are a lot of frauds in the field of science. And what makes someone a fraud isn't really just because they can't do what they're doing. Like some people, you might think someone's a fraud because they can't read tarot well. No, there's a lot of frauds who are masterful tarot readers. It's because they lack integrity in what they do. You can tell the reason why they're doing what they're doing isn't really for the noble aspirations that they act like it is. So other than that, this is really important, because a lot of how you are going to really open up accordingly to a day like today that will give you a snapshot of your relationships in your life and what you want to do with them and what you can do with them is going to also finalize the 180-degree progression from 0 degrees Aries to 0 degrees Libra of your supernatural manifestation and evolution. Why? Well, during that 180 degrees, it is a fact that Saturn was transiting Capricorn and Pluto was transiting Capricorn, which is now both simultaneously breaking down, purging, transforming, and manifesting supremely the power that you've had in your DNA from your bones, with the South Node in Capricorn inheriting this from all your past lifetimes. Then we have Uranus in Taurus that entered, sustaining all this evolution and transformation down physically into your actual body in this real dimension. And then we had Jupiter going through Sagittarius, evolving considerably your awareness of your third eye philosophically to be able to see perceptually and perceive these minute changes happening at subatomic levels. It's a lot of jargon I'm throwing in your face. But if you understand it, holla, you get it. And we also had Chiron in Aries to polish and clean the wounds that come from evolving, where your body changes, where your ego now has to match the changes of your own spirit and character. That's all facts, all right? Please keep in mind, you can say these same facts to established scientists, to people out in the world, and they'll act like you're speaking a different language before they say that this is pseudoscientific. So please understand that you might be in the minority of knowing this. Please understand that there are other people who don't even know astrology, but will also know this through other means. So this is a pivotal period. This is a very pivotal period, because by the time we get back to 0 degrees Aries, Saturn will have already reached Aquarius, and Jupiter will be in Capricorn. And now this is taking the initial evolution and evolving this to a super conscious level, to where, okay, now we've mastered our superpowers at an initial level within us. This next chapter is how we master it in our outer world, in our community. So it's happening right under your nose. And this period is where everything that happened right under the zodiac, Aries to Virgo, now starts to be seen and emerge through how you deal with other people. Okay? So that's the message that I have for today. You owe it to yourself to believe in yourself for making it this far. And this is where you really want to practice everything you've learned and apply it to other people. And until next time, I actually have one last message. Given the psychic receptivity of like how much more open you are, you have to understand that certain people are bitter, certain people are jaded, certain people are jaundiced, certain people are stubborn, and it doesn't matter what you say or show them, they're going to prejudge you. They're going to believe whatever they believe about you. There's certain people that have seen your actions or will judge things that you've done or are okay with doing and judge you off of that. You don't have to acknowledge those voices. The main fact that they're antagonizing you is proof that you influence them more than they influence you. You trigger them at a place deep inside, and that is their way of showing you their admiration. This is all energy at the end of the day. So even though someone may dislike you, the attitude and behavior, if someone truly disliked you, and I'm saying this because many of you may, and please comment this below if you've noticed this, because this is not just in your head. Many of you are opening up more telepathically or empathically, so you're feeling people's real feelings to you. Despite the smiles in your faces, you feel the lack of the respect or disrespect they may have towards you, that their actions may show too, and none of that matters. Like a lot of people are coping with the fact that they have feelings for you, and they might want to helga it. They may express their disdain for whatever hold you have by just expressing that negatively. That has everything to do with them, not you. And it will get to you a little bit because of the receptivity. Some of you may be wondering why it's getting to you. It's not to do with you. It's the receptivity that is occurring with the evolution of your superpowers. All this will stabilize, and by Capricorn, you'll gain your thick skin back. But as you're evolving, it's making you more sensitive and vulnerable, and don't take that seriously. Just let that build strength in you, because most of those people, most of those influences that are kind of looking down on you like that have no authority to do that. And in most cases, you're the one who should be looking down on them. But of course, you're playing a bigger role, and you don't have to even worry about that. So I'm just letting you know that. It's going to seem like it's a big deal. It's not a big deal. People who stand up against you during this period, over the next 6 months, especially starting today, and act like you need to be canceled or act like you know there's certain stuff wrong with you, they just want attention. Don't give them that. And don't let your spirit be perturbed by the petty things that they're doing. It is utterly meaningless, which is why they need to get your attention by saying that unsolicited. I'm only saying that because, once again, Venus and Mercury is squaring Saturn and Pluto, and that's really harsh. The opposition to Chiron can attack your character through outside influences, and if you're not as confident, you can let words from people who barely know you affect your self-esteem, when that's the last thing that should happen, because you worked hard to get where you did. That doesn't mean you didn't make mistakes. That doesn't mean that you didn't expose shadow elements of your character that you are not proud of, but that does not make it for other people to judge you based off of that. Whether you have their respect or not matters not. It's different if you're soliciting their opinion. If it's coming unsolicited, tell them to suck your private parts. And until next time, peace.